silver don't go bad. Socks are another example. There are lots of socks out there where silver has been woven into the fabric so that your socks don't smell. And there are a couple of things that I would like to touch on here related to the relationship between nanotechnology and society. Some are kind of funny and some are very serious. So a kind of funny one is great that you don't have to wash your socks as often. Gross that you don't have to wash your socks as often. So there are benefits and drawbacks. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. It means your locker room probably wouldn't smell as bad, but that's kind of gross. But another topic that's not necessarily quite as funny, that's much more serious, is related to the socks, the clothes, and the washing machine. When you wash the socks, when you wash the shirt, when you use the washing machine, silver comes out of the fabric, or comes out of the washing machines and goes into the wastewater. Then that silver goes into the groundwater and goes into water treatment plants. What happens then? If silver continues to be antimicrobial, is it going into the water and treating all kinds of bacteria and viruses in the environment that we need to have? Or is it fine? Does it become inactive? We don't know. And we don't really know what kind of effect silver is having on the environment. We also don't know, is it having an effect on animals? There are researchers who are doing studies on the toxicity of silver nanoparticles on different kinds of organisms, like fish. And they found that it can deform fish. But is that something that we need to be worried about? What kinds of quantities are concerned? What happens to silver over its lifetime? So, along with any kind of new product comes new questions. And it's important for us to think about these. And I think it's the reason why it's important for all of us to begin to learn about nanotechnology, so that when you go to the store and you see those socks that won't smell after wearing them a couple of times, not only will you make the decision about whether or not that's gross, but you can make the decision about, I'm going to take the chance that it won't hurt the environment and buy them, or, I don't think that's important. I think there are other ways where having antimicrobial properties are worth it. Say in a hospital. Maybe using nanosilver in a hospital is way more important. We're not sure of the risk still, but saving lives is probably more important than smelling. So a last area that I'd like to talk about related to Einstein is something called the photoelectric effect, the relationship between electrons and light. And again, Einstein published this in his magic year in 1985. And now we use the relationship between electrons and light to create light all around us. On the left, you can see a regular light bulb, the traditional incandescent light bulb. The way that they create light, that it heats up that wire until it's so hot it glows, like a stove or something. It's extremely hot. Heat, though, is wasted energy. If you hold your hand next to a regular light bulb, it's going to get hot. On the right over here is something called a light-emitting diode, or an LED. They're all around us. And I can talk about a few examples that I see just around the floor here. This light bulb, instead of using and heating up a super thin wire to create light, it uses a special kind of metal, and uses how when electrons move around that they can create light. And that's how light is created from an LED, not from heating something up until it glows, but because electrons move, and when they move they can create light. So now we're doing a lot of getting rid of old light bulbs and incandescent bulbs and replacing them with LEDs. They're pros and cons. They're more expensive, but they can last longer and they're more energy efficient. So I'll be highlighting now a couple places where LEDs are used in the world around us. So two benefits of LEDs. I mentioned that they're extremely energy efficient. They save us a lot in terms of money and fuel going in to create electricity. They also turn on much more quickly. You don't have to wait for something to heat up and glow. So they can light up much more quickly. And if you think about where that might be important, maybe the lights in the car, especially the brake lights, would be really important. So if you know that the car in front of you is stopping when you see those red lights turn on, what if they turned on just a split second sooner? That would give you more stopping time. So a lot of places and a lot of cars are using LEDs instead of regular lights because they're more energy efficient and because they increase safety because they light up more quickly. They're also used in other kinds of road things, traffic signs, traffic lights. I saw that the crosswalk signs outside of Explora here have LEDs. The little man, the red man, and the white man, those have LEDs. If you've been to the exhibit inside the technology where they have the virtual harp, the lights at the top of the virtual harp, those are LEDs. And it works because they can light up quickly. Other places where LEDs are, just to emphasize that they really are all around us, is a city in Los Angeles, a bridge where all of the lights were replaced with LEDs. And also, compared to the before picture, it creates a lot less light waste and light noise. It's not nearly, doesn't light up as much outside and waste as much extra light as, say, the LEDs do, or the regular light bulbs. If you go to a movie or go to the theater, or even in your airplane, some of the lights along the floor might be LEDs. Christmas lights, very common now to see LEDs. They're safer because they don't heat up, much more energy efficient. Your Christmas tree lights are lower. For Americans who like to decorate their houses extravagantly, it's an important thing. And of course, sports. A lot of the big screens that you'll see in places like Times Square in New York or big football stadiums, the screens up here, it's not a normal television screen like we think of. It's a bunch of extremely small LED light bulbs, which are about a centimeter in size, so extremely small. Another way that we're using the relationship between electrons and light is through something called quantum dots. Now these are, again, super, super tiny pieces of metal, of a semiconductor. And because of how semiconductors work, they glow. So when light hits them in certain ways, and when the particles are different sizes, they glow different colors. And they're cool. Down here you can see before the black light, and then up here at the top, there's black light shining on them. But other than their beauty, and that it's really kind of neat looking, they're being used, or hoped that they will be used for medical diagnostic things, that maybe they could tag these to find cancer cells in the body, or other kinds of disease diagnosis. So there's hope that this relationship between electrons and light will help us to diagnose disease and make other electronics more affordable. So we talked about where nanotechnology was with Einstein 100 years ago, and even before. We talked about where we are with nanotechnology today. Where do we think we want to take nanotechnology? And I want to emphasize that it's us taking nanotechnology. It's not nanotechnology taking itself. We are the users of it. We are the creators of it. It does not have a life of its own. It's our choice and our decision, which I think is one of the reasons why it's important for us to learn about it, so that we can be involved in where it goes in the future. Nano is all around us. I talked about some products at the beginning, and I just wanted to highlight that again. These are all products that claim to be enhanced by nanotechnology. And this is just a small sample. There's a website that an American group has put together called the nanotecproject.org, and it has an inventory of consumer products around the world, not just in the United States, that claim to be enhanced by nanotechnology. Now, it doesn't have everything. It's hard to keep that list updated, and it's the responsibility of the businesses to let them know which products have nanotechnology, and not all of them do. But it gives you an idea of where things are. And you can see the range of things, everything from power tools to purses, foodware, paint, to makeup, to sporting goods. These are all things that are commonplace in our lives that quite possibly have been enhanced by nanotechnology. So nano is in the future, and it is sci-fi, and it will hopefully be cancer treatment, but it's also every day around us. There's a lot still in the lab, though. In order for us to get beyond just, say, power tools and handbags, there's a lot of research going on in places like universities and industries and government labs. It's going to be a long time until, say, cancer treatment or the fusion fuel cells come to the marketplace for us to use. And predicting where nanotechnology will go in the future is challenging. People will often ask me where they should invest or where I think nano will go, and if it will succeed or if it will fail. I don't know. It would be like trying to